Hello. So today is National Day of Mourning for Indigenous Americans or Indigenous Natives, and I had a whole other life plan for talking about how I'm not actually American, but hello, Simran. But that's for another life. Today I wanted to talk about uh, tracing the origins of the word thanks. Right? There's a lot of people who've already talked about how this day is a day of genocide, a day of mourning, and it's not supposed to be a day of Thanksgiving, and how the stories are fake. I agree with all that, and I wanted to bring in another angle. Even this word thanks or gratitude is actually anti-indigenous, because in pre-colonial indigenous languages, including the natives, at least the ones that I know of, there is no word for thanks. There's no such word. In fact, one of my friends who is Anishinaabe, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, she's indigenous and native to the land, and she told me that the closest word she has to the word thanks is just I have enough. And again, I don't really know how to pronounce it. It's something like miigwech, I think. And so I've been tracing where it comes from. It comes from politeness structures and language, which itself comes from classist origins of oppression. So, for example, in let's talk about pre-colonial and post-colonial. What started happening in post-colonial times is that there were three classes of people. There was the uber rich people of the time, the so-called nobles, royals, aristocrats. Then there was the warrior class, the soldiers, and then there were the peasants. And there was once a time when the warrior class could go around anywhere and for any reason, without trial, without a court, they could just chop off the heads of any peasant for any reason. If they made them angry, if they, of course, the excuse that they would give is that they made them angry, which is reverse victimhood, which is the number one psychological weapon of oppressors. So over time, the peasants started developing these politeness structures and language to appease the warrior class, and the rich class encouraged them, because what was happening was the warrior class started killing too many peasants, and they were basically removing resources from them too. So they were hurting both groups of people in different ways, and this wasn't ideal for either group of people. And so they started developing these politeness structures as basically a fawn trauma response, right? We talk about freeze, flight, and fight trauma responses, but this became a cultural collective fawn trauma response among the peasant class in many different cultures that are post-colonial. And this is where we have words like please comes from, which again in pre-colonial indigenous culture we don't have that word. In fact, we don't even have a word for equality or inequality because we had neither. We didn't need those words. And so in my language, in post-colonial Burmese language, the exact translation for the word thank you is literally your humble servant repays their debt to you. That's what it means in my Burmese language. Think about that. Think about how oppressive that is. It is not the nice, sweet, so adorable, way of living life, this way of gratitude. Really even think about it. Like, if you're grateful for something, it implies, even in the way the word is defined, You're grateful to somebody or something. So who is that somebody that you're grateful for, right? As far as we know, we're in a colonial system still, so we're basically still grateful for that angry man in the sky, the old man in the sky, the vengeful God. That is basically what it is, what their presupposition is about. Either that, or we're grateful for this corporation, this colonial corporation that is the so-called United States of America. And by the way, countries are also fiction. A nation is just a story, but the United States is even worse because it's not even a country in that sense. It's a corporation. That's why it doesn't even have its own name. I mean, what the hell is United States of America? It's two continents. America is two continents. It's not even a country. Every other country, say France is France, Germany is Germany. Think about that too. This is like pretty much the only country in the world that has a ridiculous name like the United States of America. What the hell does that even mean? It's because it's a corporation. Look it up. Look up where the Constitution comes from. Look up the history of it. Just Google United States is a corporation and you'll see some eye-opening things. So yes, that's an important element of this. So that's even just in my language, in Burmese and post-colonial. The phrase for thank you is, your humble servant repays that debt to you. And so let's talk about the energy of appreciation. Appreciation is more direct. You're not, it's not about repaying a debt. That energy is no longer there when you're talking about the direct appreciation. Whereas gratitude means that somebody loaned something to you that you somehow owe a debt back. Which of course makes sense because we are in a debt-based economy. In fact, it's even worse than that. We are in an interest-based economy because money, not actual money, but this fake money known as currency, is printed out for debt but never for interest, which means bankruptcy is built into the system because we can never repay it back, ever. Which is why we keep crashing the economy every 8 to 10 years. And we're somehow grateful for that because we owe a debt to this debt-based, interest-based economy. Because that is what it actually means, gratitude. It means you owe somebody something. Whereas appreciation means you just appreciate what you have. You just like what you have. You're just filled up by what you have. Be about appreciation, not gratitude. Really start analyzing where words come from, the history of those words, the cultural, historical context, and really try to understand it. And that is why I'm not grateful for anything today. Like right now in this moment, I've made that decision. I appreciate a lot of things in my life, but I don't owe this system anything. In fact, this system owes me everything. Because you know what? I'm from the global south, and every day the fiat currency exists is theft from the global south. Because here's why. This is a fiat currency. And if you study the history of fiat currency, no fiat currency in the history of the world has ever existed this long. This fiat currency has existed almost 100 years now, since the Federal Reserve was created, and since they took out the gold standard. Do you know why it's lasted this long, this American currency? It's because they've been exporting their inflation to us, to our countries. And they've been forcing us to accept this currency via the sticks and carrots strategy of economic warfare and literally sending out economic hitmen to our leaders in the global south. They would always make these offers like, do as we say and we'll give you billions of dollars. And if you don't, you might experience a mysterious plane crash. That's literally how it goes. And in fact, there has been leaders who refused and who did end up dying with mysterious plane crashes. So they've been exporting this inflation, which is why this, and every time you export inflation, inflation is theft from the people because it's like taxing the people without them even knowing it. That's what it is. Every time prices rise without wages rising, the federal minimum wage in America, even in America, is still $7.25, while the price of milk and gas has risen so much in the last 20 years. Imagine how much worse it is in other countries. It is theft from the global south, and I owe this corporation nothing. And I'm not grateful for this corporation. But I do appreciate my body. I appreciate the house that I live in. I appreciate my family, my culture, the food that I eat, because I'm filled up by it. I feel enough. I appreciate my very existence itself. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, Simran, thanks. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Quotes and Poetry. So, Simran says, I never thought about it like that. Very eye-opening, exactly. Hi, Mival. All right, yeah. So, just wanted to say that. And I think that's all I had to say about it. I read Don Julia, so messed up, I agree. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I also don't consider myself to be an American either. I am a human being first and a citizen of the global south first and foremost, always. And then I'm a Hindu, I'm a Buddhist, and I'm a Sikh. And I'm indigenous, ethnic, Hindu, Buddhist, and Sikh. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. Be sure to watch the replay if you missed it. Alrighty, and if you like this live, be sure to support me via Venmo, if you can or if you want to. I'll post it in my I'll post in the description as well. And you can also get some Akashic Records readings from me, minimum 4 sessions. So, yeah, private message me about that. And if you want some help with success strategies with your purpose, things like that, that's what I do. In an anti-oppression lens, DM me. Thank you so much. Have a great day.